A continued dimension is an additional dimension that starts from an extension line of the previous or selected dimension. You can create an angular continued dimension that starts from the second extension line origin of the previous angular dimension or from another dimension that you select. You can add angular continued dimensions to measure several consecutive angles. To create an angular continued dimension, you use the Continue tool. On the Annotate ribbon, in the Dimensions panel, the Baseline and Continue tools share a split button. Select Continue, or expand the Baseline split button and choose Continue. Realize that whichever tool you used last floats to the top of this button. When you start the command, the program prompts you to specify the second extension line origin, and you can see the extension line from which the dimension will be continued. If the new dimension is being measured from the proper first extension line, you can specify the second extension line origin. But if that is not the first extension line you want to use, you can select a different one. To specify a different first extension line, choose the Select option or press Enter. In this case, the program has found the correct first extension line, so you can use Object Snap to select the center of each successive circle to add the additional angular dimensions. The command stays active, so you can place additional continued dimensions, each starting from the end of the previous dimension. When you are finished creating continued dimensions, press Escape to cancel the command. Note that when you added the new continued dimensions, they took on the same dimension style and were placed on the same layer as the dimension you selected to continue from. So even though the current dimension style is called Alternate, which uses tick marks rather than arrowheads, and the current layer is the alternate dimensions layer, the continued dimensions you added were created using the standard dimension style and were created on the dimension layer, the same style and layer as the dimension you selected as the continued dimension. By default, when you create a continued dimension, the new dimension inherits the same style and layer as the dimension that is being continued. This is controlled by the dim continue mode system variable. When set to 1, which is the default, the new dimension inherits the style and layer of the selected continued dimension. If you change this value to 0, however, the new dimension will use the current dimension style and will be created on the current layer.